Welcome back. You've been diving deep into the law of attraction with that Power Within episode, and it sounds like you're ready to really go beyond just the basics. You want to know how this law actually works,
Yeah,
and most importantly, how to actually use it
right.
to make changes.
It's not just about wishing and hoping, right?
Exactly.
It's about understanding the mechanics behind it, and that Power Within episode offers some pretty interesting ideas about that.
Exactly. So what jumped out at you? What were some of the key takeaways from the episode for you?
Well, they kept coming back to this idea of energy and vibration
Okay.
that attracts almost as if we're all giant magnets. They use that analogy quite a bit.
Okay, the magnet analogy, I get that on a surface level, but what kind of energy are we talking about here?
Right.
Is this a scientifically proven thing or more of a philosophical concept?
That's where it gets a bit tricky. The episode didn't really delve into hard science. It's more about the idea that our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs all have a kind of energetic frequency, and that this frequency can attract similar frequencies from the outside world.
So if I'm constantly worrying about money, I'm actually sending out broke vibes, and that's what I'm attracting back into my life.
That's the basic idea. It's not just about forcing yourself to think positive thoughts. It's about cultivating a whole inner state that's aligned with what you want to manifest.
So even if I'm trying to visualize abundance, but deep down, I still have this nagging fear of scarcity. My subconscious could be sabotaging my efforts. That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, that's where the episode gets really interesting. They talk about the subconscious mind as this powerful force that's often running on autopilot. And it can either help or hinder our efforts to use the law of attraction.
Okay, hold on. We need to unpack the subconscious stuff.
Yes.
That's where I start to get lost.
Okay.
Is it really that powerful?
They use this great analogy. The iceberg, the conscious mind, what we're aware of at any given moment, is just the tip above the water. But the subconscious is the massive part below the surface. It holds all of our past experiences, beliefs, and patterns, even the ones we're not consciously aware of.
So it's like this hidden operating system that's constantly influencing our thoughts and behaviors, even if we don't realize it.
Exactly. And that's why the episode emphasizes the importance of reprogramming the subconscious mind. It's about updating that old software with beliefs and patterns that support our goals.
Okay, this is what I'm really curious about. What are some of these reprogramming techniques? Because if my subconscious is running the show, I want to make sure it's running the right show.
Yeah, they go through a whole list of techniques, and some of them are probably familiar to you. Affirmations,
Yeah.
visualization.
Right, those are the ones you always hear about. But do they actually work? And how do they actually tap into the subconscious?
Let's start with affirmations. They actually gave some specific examples, which I thought was really helpful. Since you're interested in attracting more abundance, they suggested affirmations like, I am financially secure, or money flows to me easily and effortlessly.
Okay, so it's not just about repeating any old positive phrase. It's about choosing affirmations that directly address the specific area you want to change.
Exactly. And they emphasize the importance of phrasing those affirmations in the present tense as if it's already true. The idea is to convince your subconscious mind that this is your current reality, even if it doesn't feel like it yet.
That makes sense. So what about visualization? I've tried that before, but I'm not sure I was doing it right.
They gave some interesting tips on that as well. It's not just about vaguely picturing what you want. They encourage you to create a vivid, multisensory experience in your mind. If you want to manifest your dream home, for example, they suggest visualizing yourself walking through the house, feeling the textures, smelling the aromas.
Wow, so it's about making it feel as real as possible, engaging all your senses to really trick your subconscious into believing it's already happening.
Exactly. It's about creating that feeling of already having it, which supposedly sends a powerful signal to the universe.
Okay, this is fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
But we've only just scratched the surface, haven't we? They talked about a lot more than just affirmations and visualization.
Right. And those other techniques get even deeper into how we can influence our subconscious mind. We'll dive into those in the next part of this deep dive.
Okay, so we're back. And I'm really curious to hear about those other techniques for reprogramming the subconscious. We talked about affirmations and visualization, but I know there's more to it than that. What else did that Power Within episode dive into?
Well, remember how we were talking about the subconscious being like this hidden operating system? Some of these techniques are almost like hacking into that system directly.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. Hacking into the subconscious. Tell me more.
They talked about meditation and self-hypnosis as powerful tools for accessing and influencing the subconscious mind.
Now, those are two things I've always been a bit intimidated by. I think of meditation as something you have to be like super disciplined to do. And self-hypnosis sounds kind of woo-woo. Can you break it down for me? How do they actually work?
Sure. Both meditation and self-hypnosis help you enter a deeply relaxed state, where your conscious mind takes a back seat.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
quieting the chatter of your everyday thoughts so you can tune into that deeper part of yourself.
So it's not about emptying your mind completely like I always thought. It's more about shifting your focus.
Exactly. And in that relaxed state, your subconscious becomes more receptive to suggestion. It's like opening a door to reprogram those limiting beliefs with more empowering ones. They even suggested some guided meditations specifically designed for attracting abundance.
Oh, wow. So you can actually use those guided meditations to like plant specific suggestions in your subconscious. That's pretty amazing.
Right. And they mention self-hypnosis as another way to access that same receptive state. You can use self-hypnosis to work through specific blocks or limiting beliefs that might be holding you back.
Okay, this is all starting to make sense, but I have to admit, it's a lot to take in. It's like we're learning a whole new language here.
It is a bit like learning a new language, the language of the subconscious mind. But once you start to understand how it works, you can start to use it to your advantage.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So what else did that Power Within episode highlight? Did they talk about anything besides meditation and self-hypnosis?
One thing they kept coming back to was the importance of gratitude and cultivating what they called an abundance mindset.
Okay, I get gratitude. Focusing on the good things in your life can definitely shift your perspective. But how does an abundance mindset fit into this whole law of attraction thing?
It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already have. Instead of dwelling on what's missing, you're appreciating what's present in your life right now. And that feeling of abundance, that sense of having enough, that's what supposedly sends out a powerful signal to the universe.
So it's like saying, hey, universe, I'm already abundant, so send me more of that.
Exactly. It's about aligning your inner state with the reality you want to create. They even talked about the science behind it, how gratitude can actually change your brain chemistry and make you more receptive to positive experiences.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So it's not just some feel-good mumbo-jumbo. There's actually science to back it up.
Right. And it makes sense when you think about it. When you're feeling grateful, you're more likely to notice opportunities, you're more optimistic, and you're just generally more magnetic to positive experiences.
I love that. It's like gratitude is this secret weapon for attracting more good stuff into your life.
They had a lot to say about gratitude, and that leads to another key takeaway. They argued that surrounding yourself with uplifting content can have a powerful impact on your subconscious mind.
Okay, now this is something I can definitely get behind. I'm a total podcast junkie, and I love reading inspiring books. So how does that tie into the law of attraction?
It's all about feeding your mind with positive input. If you're constantly consuming negative news or listening to people complain, that's going to have a negative impact on your subconscious programming.
So it's like we have to be mindful of the mental diet we're feeding ourselves.
Exactly. It's about consciously choosing to expose yourself to content that uplifts you, inspires you, and reinforces those positive beliefs you're trying to cultivate.
That makes perfect sense. If you're trying to manifest abundance, it probably wouldn't help to spend all your time watching shows about financial disasters, right?
Right. It's about creating an environment that supports your growth and transformation.
Yeah.
They talked about listening to uplifting music, watching inspiring documentaries, reading self-help books, even surrounding yourself with positive people.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all of these pieces fit together. It's like we're building this whole ecosystem of positivity to support our goals.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just about one technique in isolation. It's about creating a holistic approach that addresses all levels of your being, your thoughts, your emotions, your environment, even your physical body.
Speaking of all these different levels, one thing that really stood out to me in that Power Within episode was their emphasis on self-confidence. They kept coming back to it again and again. Why do you think that is? How does self-confidence fit into the whole law of attraction equation?
That's a great observation. And it's really at the heart of what the law of attraction is all about. They argue that when we lack self-belief, it creates these internal barriers that prevent us from achieving our goals. It's like we're sending out mixed signals to the universe. On one hand, we're saying we want something, but on the other hand, we're doubting our ability to receive it.
So even if I'm doing all the right things, affirmations, visualizations, meditation, the whole nine yards, if I don't truly believe in myself, it won't work.
That's the message they seem to be conveying. They suggest that self-doubt creates a kind of energetic resistance that blocks the law of attraction from operating effectively.
Okay, so self-doubt is like this invisible force field that's blocking all the good stuff from flowing into my life.
Yeah.
That's a powerful image.
Right. It's like trying to drive a car with a parking brake on. You might be pushing the gas pedal, but you're not going to get very far.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. But the question is, how do we release that parking brake? How do we cultivate true, unshakable self-confidence? Do they offer any guidance on that?
They did. In fact, they dedicated a whole segment to techniques for building self-confidence, recognizing that for many people, this can be the biggest hurdle to overcome.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me everything. We're back, and I gotta say, my head is still spinning after all that.
Yeah,
It's a lot,
it is.
but it's so fascinating. I'm starting to see the law of attraction in a whole new light now.
It's not just about wishful thinking, right? It's about really understanding that connection between our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, our environment.
Yeah, and that Power Within episode really gave us a lot to chew on. From that magnet analogy
Right,
of like
right.
like to the powerful iceberg metaphor for the subconscious.
Yeah, and how much of it's hidden.
Yeah.
Remember how they talked about it being this vast reservoir of beliefs and patterns? It's like we've been operating on autopilot for so long, totally unaware of the programs running in the background.
And those programs aren't always helpful,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes they're actually working against us, even when we're trying to think positive and visualize our goals.
Exactly. But the good news is we're not stuck with those old programs. We have all those techniques for reprogramming the subconscious. Affirmations, visualization, meditation, self-hypnosis. We have all the tools we need to rewire our brains for success.
And like we can't forget about curating our mental diet,
Right.
being mindful of what we're consuming, the content we take in, and the people we surround ourselves with.
It's about creating that whole ecosystem to support our transformation.
Yeah, and then there's the big one, self-confidence. That's really the foundation for everything else.
Yeah, if we don't believe in ourselves, it's going to be much harder to manifest our desires.
Yeah, they really drove home the point that self-doubt is like this energetic resistance that's blocking everything.
Like that parking brake analogy. You can hit the gas all you want, but if that brake is on, you're not going anywhere.
Exactly, and they gave us so many practical tips for cultivating that unshakable self-belief.
Like challenging the inner critic,
Right.
celebrating our wins, practicing self-compassion.
And I love that idea of visualizing ourselves as confident and successful,
Yes.
creating that blueprint for who we want to become.
It's all about aligning our inner world with the reality we want to create.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the law of attraction and how it actually works.
Me too.
It's so much more than just positive thinking.
Yeah, it's about taking those conscious steps to align our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions.
So much great information to unpack and explore. I'm excited to start putting some of these techniques into practice right away. If you could truly believe in yourself without any limitations, what would you be capable of achieving? That's something I want you to think about. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.